So when I was 33 years old, I had a midlife crisis. I mean, I had a Mariah Carey meltdown. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Right. So let me tell y'all what was going on. I had a 1-year-old son. I had a marriage that was crumbling. And I had a business that was on life support. And it was on life support because I started my first company in 1999 when I was 26 years old. And within 2 to 3 years, my business started doing really well. I started winning every award you could think of. You know, top 50 women in business, top 30 leaders under 30 in America, Rising Star of the Year award from Black Enterprise. And then I got pregnant with my son. And I got put on bed rest for 6 months. Yeah. I went from being the worst workaholic you ever met in your whole life to not being able to leave my house. And oh, by the way, Wi-Fi was not what it is today. So I had a Palm 3 cell phone trying to run my whole life. So y'all can imagine how that worked for me. Not so well. And the thing is that I had made the #1 mistake you make in business. I had built a business that couldn't run without me. So I said to myself, the most valuable thing in my business was what I learned from running it. And I said to myself, well, could I figure out how to bottle and sell that? And that's when I made a decision. A year prior, I had gone and spoken at an event for one of my clients, and I met a young lady that was on stage with me, and in the back green room, she told me about this organization called NSA. And I was like, what is that? I had no idea folks got paid to speak. I was actually out here speaking for ham sandwiches because I didn't know any better. And she said, no, there's this organization called NSA. And she said, you can go to their national conference even if you're not a member. And that summer, that was 2007, the conference was in San Diego. And I didn't know a soul. I got online, I paid my money, I bought a plane ticket, and I went to San Diego because I said to myself, I know business, I just don't know the speaking business. And I went to every session, and I took copious notes, and I was just like, okay. And every single person that I talked to said, listen, if you want to get taken seriously as an expert, you better write a book. Matter of fact, you better write a good book. And so at that point, I had a table of contents. I had 4 raggedy chapters. And somehow I ended up on the phone one day with a book editor. And completely unrelated conversation, by the way, but he said to me, well, what are you going to do with this book thing you got? And I said, well, I was going to self-publish my book. And he said, yeah, no, not if you want to get taken seriously as an expert. He said, why don't you send me your table of contents and your 4 chapters, and I'll let you know what I think of your little book. Yeah, that's how he talked to me. He introduced me to this young lady. The name of her business was websavvypr.com. So I called her up on the phone, and I told her my sad story. And she said, great, we got 18 months. And I thought I was talking to a lunatic on the other end of the phone. And she said, I know what we're going to do. I said, what are we going to do? I'm like, enlighten me. What are we going to do? She said, we're going to go out on Twitter and build your brand. Now, remember now, this is fall of 2008. And you know what I said to her? What is Twitter? What are you talking about? And she said, no, trust me. I'll teach you how to use Twitter, and we'll get you your own Twitter account. So I was like, oh, Lord. At this point, I was exasperated. I was willing to do anything, but I was disgusted by everything. Y'all know what I mean? So finally, the day came for me to get my own Twitter account. So I'm on the phone in front of my computer. She's on the phone in front of her computer. I go to twitter.com, and I put in Melinda Emerson, and I get a notice back. This name is already taken. Now, what I need y'all to know is that I probably have met 5, I think I met another Melinda this weekend, but I've met probably 6 in my whole life. I certainly have never met any other Melinda Emerson. So I was astounded that my name was already taken. So my publicist, Kathy, at the time, she said, that's okay, we'll just come up with a nickname for you. And I said, a nickname for me? You mean like Mindy or Melly Mel or something? And she said, no, you were not a rapper, no. She said, no, we're going to come up with a nickname for you that tells people who you are and what you do. And I said, okay, well, like what? And she said, how about SmallBizLady? Well, I kind of like that one. I was like, okay, I think I can be her. Well, we now know that that was the best branding thing that ever happened to me, because there are thousands of small business experts online, but there's only one Small Biz Lady, and I reach 3 million entrepreneurs a week online with my content information. But at the time, I thought it was all crazy, right? So after she helped me get this brand, Small Biz Lady, she gave me an assignment. And she said, I want you to do 3 things every day. She said, I want you to share an article written by somebody else, because back then I didn't have a blog. The second thing she told me was she wanted me to share something personal about myself. So I would share something about my son, something like, had to act like an ape to get JoJo to eat a banana this morning. Anything that would help people get to know me personally. And the third thing I did was I answered somebody's small business question every day. Now, I work Twitter like a job, people, every day. I put myself in charge of ending small business failure. The second thing we did was about 4 months into doing that daily routine, I started realizing that I was spending so much time every day looking for people with questions. So then we started to realize that people were starting to get together and do tweet chats. And so I said, well, what if we could create something where people with questions would find me? She said, oh, okay, let's do that. So in April of 2009, I launched Small Biz Chat every Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. I've been doing it for almost 7 years. Now, that was when my Twitter account went bananas, because once I started answering people's questions every single week, hundreds of people, almost 1,500 people a week started finding me and following me on Twitter. So today, I have 350,000 followers on Twitter alone. The next thing we did was we created my content strategy. So 6 months into being on Twitter, we launched my blog, succeedasyournboss.com. Now, we launched my blog posting twice a week, every Monday and every Thursday. And what we realized was that we were doing so much work to produce my tweet chat every Wednesday night that we started just repurposing the interviews on my blog on Thursday. So everything that I have built started with Twitter, but I was able to grow it because of content. My blog became, and still is, my #1 selling tool. When corporations call me, we do not have a conversation about whether or not I can solve their problem. We talk about availability and price. And the reason why is because I demonstrate my expertise so well online. I make sure that I have over 50 recommendations on LinkedIn. I have so much social proof that they know that if they want to target the small business audience, how about you come to the person that small business owners trust? And so that is how I built my business and I built my brand. And now I am regularly quoted in national media. I am on TV, I'm often interviewed, and I actually have several television projects in the works as well. So I will tell you that from that day, when I felt like all hope was lost, what I learned is that you're one idea away from being able to do anything you want.